everyone, and welcome to the Smashi Business Show. Today is Thursday, 3rd of July, and I'm Abdul Majid Awan.
And I'm Ward Ahmed, and we've got a packed show for you today. Firstly, we're going to go over how Abu Dhabi and Dubai have been named the world's top emerging data center markets. Secondly, Kuwait, in a historic move following what the UAE has done, has introduced a 15% minimum tax on big global companies starting this year. And in a really interesting twist, there's this businessman who allegedly bought a $2.9 million Dubai villa using U.S. healthcare scam money. And finally, the Saudi startup Flawless has raised $1.5 million for its AI career platform.
And apart from that, Yango Ads, the tech engine behind growth for global brands, just launched Points of Growth podcast, a podcast about winning with smarter marketing. If you're in a startup, mid-sized business, or enterprise, this is your backstage pass to ad tech insights that actually move the needle. The show speaks directly to founders, marketers, business developers across high-growth industries like real estate, gaming, retail, and tourism. Every episode focuses on how you can unlock fast, efficient business growth using tools, targeting, and AI-backed strategies. Tune in and grow smarter. Points of Growth is streaming now on all listening and video platforms. Just write Points of Growth and ads, Yango Ads, and you'll get it.
And for our first story of the day, Abu Dhabi and Dubai have been ranked the world's top 2 emerging data center markets, according to Cushman & Wakefield's 2025 Global Data Center Market Comparison Report. Among 97 global markets surveyed, Abu Dhabi placed first, followed very closely by Dubai, based on key indicators such as power availability, fiber connectivity, land pricing, and development pipeline. Now, the report highlights the UAE's growing importance as a hub for digital infrastructure investment.
And the UAE currently has over 250 megawatts of live data center capacity, with another 500 megawatts under active development. Major projects include Stargate UAE in Abu Dhabi, a 5 gigawatt AI and cloud campus backed by OpenAI, Oracle, and NVIDIA, and a $540 million hyperscale facility in Dubai by Microsoft and telecom operator Du.
In addition, cloud providers like AWS, Alibaba, and Equinix are also scaling operations in the Emirates. So the Khazna Data Centers leads the UAE market, holding over 59% share. Even enterprise giants like Emirates Group are moving into solar-powered facilities, including one at the Mohammed bin Rashid Solar Park.
And the UAE's data center market was valued at $1.26 billion in 2024 and is projected to grow to $3.33 billion by 2030. Massive capital commitments are fueling this expansion, including $25 billion from EDQ, one of the sovereign wealth funds in Abu Dhabi, and Energy Capital Partners into power infrastructure, and a $30 billion commitment from MGX, Microsoft, BlackRock, for AI-focused growth.
Now, this is what Cushman & Wakefield specifically had to say. So the UAE's ability to deliver on infrastructure, meet development deadlines, and attract pre-leasing occupiers makes it a standout performer globally. Now, with the demand for AI and cloud capacity surging, the UAE is positioning itself as a reliable and scalable digital hub for the future. I really see this as no surprise. Just very recently, the UAE was the first country in the world to announce that they are going to give everyone free advanced ChatGPT.
Yeah, and it's because of the Stargate project that they are going to host, and the AI campus, mega AI campus between, which was signed when Trump came here in the Middle East, and UAE was his last destination, and then he flew out. So it's the whole technical aspect, apart from the money and the gigawatts and the megawatts, the main thing is that they wanted to diversify, and AI infrastructure was one of the things that they thought they could diversify through. And they are now, through this report, very much in front of the emerging markets. The developed markets, obviously, US is the leader, but in emerging markets, in the 97 countries which are considered as an emerging market, Abu Dhabi, the city, is at top. It's the capital of the capital. It's the richest city in the world. It has 4 sovereign wealth funds, and now it's a leader in emerging markets for AI infrastructure.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I feel like
Yeah.
we saw how much of an important leader it is, not just in the country itself, but in the world.
Yeah.
When President Donald Trump visited the UAE, he visited Abu Dhabi, and he had Sam Altman with him and Jensen Huang, and they decided that Stargate. US is coming to Abu Dhabi. They're going to build the largest data center outside of the US there,
Yeah.
and it's interesting to look back at now because it was just announced, I believe, that OpenAI is renting 4.5 gigawatts of power from Oracle. It's in this $30 billion deal, and it's for their Stargate project. So it will be interesting to see how this specifically links to Abu Dhabi and the kind of advancements that they're making. And I think that we see this trend in how the world's biggest tech giants, they're all coming to the UAE, they're all coming to Saudi Arabia, they're coming to this region, and they're seeing the potential in this region. And the world's richest man, Elon Musk, you have his Starlink, and he's advancing it all over the Middle East. And it's interesting to see how, they're using Starlink in Qatar Airways, they're using it in, I believe, Oman, also in, I forgot, there is like a long list, also
Starlink
in Yemen.
is in Jordan now.
So you can see how it's becoming such a focus in this region.
Yeah, the main idea is that we are very heavy on energy. We have a lot of energy resources. So, and data centers need a lot of energy to run. And apart from that, we have so much sustainable structure in place to generate that electricity. It's not just oil and other energy sources. We have sustainable sources as well. So, yeah. It's going to be great when it's done and everything is in place. You're going to see that this region will become a leader in AI. US is supposed to be the leader throughout globally because they invented or they found out all the things that we are doing now. But apart from that, the infrastructure, the buildings, the actual place where everything will be done will be here. And that's important. And moving on, Kuwait is rolling out a 15% minimum tax. We reported this last year also. But now they've come up with the exact executive summary of how the laws will be. So minimum tax on multinationals will be there. It marks a major policy shift for the oil-rich Gulf state. The domestic minimum top-up tax, or DMTT, easier, applies to multinationals with global revenues above 750 million euros and is expected to generate $819 million for the state. Just remember, $819 million they're going to earn by just taxing multinational 15%, and this starts in 2025. The move aligns with the OECD's Pillar 2 Global Minimum Tax Framework and reflects Kuwait's efforts to diversify its revenue sources.
So Kuwait's Ministry of Finance has issued executive regulations for the new tax, requiring multinationals operating in the country to register by September 30th of this year. Now, KPMG notes that affected sectors include logistics, finance, oil field services, and consumer goods, many of which could see higher operating costs. Now, some analysts have warned that the added burden may be passed on to consumers over time.
And the introduction of a corporate minimum tax marks a significant shift for Kuwait, long seen as a low-tax jurisdiction, which obviously the whole Middle East is also. Finance Minister Noura Al-Fassam called the measure a milestone in the country's push toward fiscal sustainability and structural reform.
Now, Kuwait joins other GCC nations who have also done this, including the UAE and Bahrain, that are revamping tax policy to reduce reliance on oil revenue. Now, the IMF projects Kuwait's GDP will rebound by 1.9% in 2025, driven by increased oil production and non-oil sector growth.
Meanwhile, tax reform momentum continues across the region. Oman is preparing to implement the Gulf's first ever personal income tax in 2028. It has been approved, and we'll soon see the legislation around it, how it will work out. It's part of a broader shift towards long-term economic diversification and fiscal stability. So yeah, corporate tax is here in Kuwait. They've put out the legal lingo, the legal framework which will be followed basically. It's not a bad sign for a lot of multinational. A lot of people are saying that, oh, now setting up a business in Kuwait, or because UAE also has corporate tax now, but it's above a minimum standard. It's not for everyone, not for the small
Exactly.
SMEs. Which make up nearly 90% of the UAE's businesses. It's for the companies which are multinationals, earn in billions and millions. For them, it is good to pay something
No.
forward to the
I
countries
do
that
love
they're
this.
working
Honestly,
in, right?
charge the rich. But
Yeah.
it's I feel like with this story, Majid, it's so interesting the different approaches that the countries in the Gulf have taken. You know, you have Bahrain, the UAE, and now
Yeah.
Kuwait, who have this 15% tax on multinational companies. And then you have Oman, which introduced income tax, the first country to introduce income tax, in the Gulf. And, this difference in approach, it's so interesting because it's like there's such distinctly different economic realities. It's like in Oman, I feel that they're enforcing something which they feel can probably be fairly distributed among their population. And with the UAE and Bahrain and Kuwait, I feel that why they're actually doing it and why they specifically chose multinational tax. I believe it's because of the fact that in those countries there is companies that are that big and can handle that 15% tax. So I think that's why they specifically enforced it. And with Kuwait, it's it brings me to their sovereign wealth fund, Kuwait Investment Authority, which is worth $1 trillion, by the way, before PIF even reached that point. It's been standing tall. But Majid, you know how it specifically mentioned how KPMG said that this would at some point affect consumers? How do you think it will do that?
It's simple. When we saw the
Yeah.
logistics service, the oil generating services, all the services that we mentioned, it's very simple. Whenever a company gets some tax, they transfer it to the consumer. Even with I'll give you a broader example, even with Trump's tariffs, which are soon going to be implemented because the deadline is near. He gave it a 3-month extension, but now 60 days extension, it's now nearly over in a couple of days, I imagine. The company, for example, you run a business, you'll be taxed 10% extra now. You will eventually be like, okay, I'm
going to charge more.
So if I earn 100 rupees or 100 dirhams, and my profit was 20 dirhams out of that 100, now 10 of it will again go to the government. So you need to come back to your 20 profitability, you'll increase the prices. So eventually the consumer is affected. It's always the consumer that gets the brunt of everything, all the tariffs and taxes.
That is completely true. Majid, you know what happened to me this morning? So on my way to work, we were filling up the car tank, and you know how much it actually cost to fill up the car with like a full tank? It was 110 dirhams. Now, I know you might be thinking that's actually not a bad amount. Like literally, I'm not even joking, 1 month ago, to get that full tank, it was 90 dirhams.
Yeah.
And for me, when I paid attention, I don't usually pay attention because I don't drive. When I paid attention to that, and it just stood out to me because it's what is happening in the world right now. It is felt. It is felt, especially after Israel's unprovoked attack on Iran. It's like it's so interesting how it has ushered in almost this new era of like an economy that is changing completely. Like out of nowhere, we're hearing income tax for the first time in Oman. More multinational tax. Oil prices are rising, and it's when you take a look at these stories are so important because they are telling you that things are changing. These
and
big
you need
events,
to get ready for what's coming.
Oh, I mean, I don't mean it that way, but these big things, they do have big impacts on big companies and us normal consumers that are just filling up our cars to get to work every single day.
Yeah, and we have a comment from our former producer, Hisham. He says, top business podcast in the GCC. We know, Hisham. Thank you very much. But let's move on to the next story. A businessman is accused of using proceeds from the largest healthcare fraud scheme in the US Justice Department history to purchase a $2.9 million dollar villa in Dubai. It's obviously a luxury villa if it costs $2.9 million. So according to a press release from the US Attorney's Office in Arizona, the 41-year-old allegedly led Pro MD Solutions. It's a company which is based in Pakistan, and the Pakistan-based company was billing firm. The Pakistan-based billing firm, it was a billing firm involved in a sweeping Medicaid fraud operation. This story was originally reported by Khalid Times. We saw it, we read it, and then we followed it
Specifically
on.
by Mazhar Faruqi.
He was very angry with that we didn't credit him, but we did credit you throughout the story.
Now, prosecutors say the company worked with 41 addiction treatment clinics. So, like, check this out. This is basically how they carried it out. So these 41 addiction treatment clinics across Arizona basically submitted roughly $650 million in fraudulent claims to the state's Medicaid system. Now, many of the patients, which is what I find completely unfortunate about the story, were reportedly recruited from homeless shelters in Native American reservations. I mean, I'd be completely mad if I left a shelter and I went to another horrible shelter.
And investigators allege that the clinics billed for services that were either never provided, medically unnecessary, or of such poor quality they had no therapeutic value. To back up the claims, fabricated therapy notes and fake medical records were created and used to deceive auditors.
So the businessman is believed to have personally pocketed $24.5 billion from this scheme and allegedly used part of that money to buy a high-end villa in Dubai. Now, his name has not been disclosed in local reports for legal reasons.
And this case is part of a wider US federal government crackdown that has charged more than 320 people and uncovered $15 billion in healthcare fraud across the US. Officials say the investigation is ongoing with further arrests expected.
I think with this story, Majid, it's like we're always hearing of billionaires, millionaires who are making money from all of these illegal activities. But for me, this specific case, it just really stood out to me because of the fact that how do you have the heart to move people from a shelter and then take them to a shelter where you fake services that you're going to provide them, only to take that money and then go buy a villa in Dubai?
Yeah.
I understand that this is, Majid would probably say this, that this is so typical, this happens all the time.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, come on, like, if you're gonna steal from the rich or something, don't do something like this. It's just,
He
it's
actually
really
stole
sad.
from the rich. He stole from the richest country on the planet. He stole from the federal healthcare system, which has budgets for all these things. But yeah, using people in the process
He's
is
stealing
wrong.
people's livelihoods here. I
Yes.
mean, like, imagine you're leaving something and you're like, oh my God, like, my life is going to improve. I'm going to get back on the ground again. I'm going to get, like, good service. Like, it is completely disappointing to hear. It is.
Yeah. To be honest, whenever you see a fraud story, you always feel for the people who got affected because of that. Our heart goes out to all the people who were promised good health care through this, but they never got it, and they were disappointed with all of it. But the main idea is that this inquiry is open. We'll see more people coming out. The names are not there for legal reasons because once they are 100% like involved and they are like sent to jail and asked to pay fines, then their names will be public. But let's see, hopefully it's a good page to turn in federal funding in US. We saw DOG, what they did. They went in, they cut all the budgets for nearly everything. And then Trump was like, okay, we should put, and then the fight happened and Musk left. And then now Trump is like, okay, maybe I'll put DOG behind Musk. And he will lose everything and will have to go back to South Africa.
They want to deport him or something?
No, he didn't say deport. He just said that if I put Doji on him, what will happen is he'll lose all the money and eventually he'll have to move back to his country, South Africa. So he's not deporting him. He's saying, I will make him bankrupt.
You just brought up something that like reminded me of story of like, losing money in America. I knew this person a long time ago. and family friend, and they used to work here. They used to work here in Dubai, and they used to make a really good salary, like a really good amount for like a middle class person. And then when COVID hit, when the pandemic hit, they decided, okay, I'm going to take all this money with me, and I'm going to go take a long, long vacation in America. And so they went to America, and guess what happened to them? They lost all their money in like literally a scheme like this. In like just a deal, they trusted somebody, lost all the money, went completely crazy about it, and last I heard, they have now ended up in like one of these
Mental
addiction,
asylums? Or
yeah, these
addiction
like
centers?
addiction shelters. So for me, this story, like, it just really bothered me because it's like these people who go into these shelters, they go into these like
Yeah.
centers. They really do need the help and they do need the support. I know we always speak about billionaires and millionaires and how much money they're making and how great they're doing, but it's like these actions that they take, they affect real people and they affect,
Yeah.
you know, their stories and their livelihoods. So for me, this is why this story just hung in my head
Yeah.
a little bit hard. But
Whenever you see fraud stories,
Magic,
your
why are
heart
you
goes out to the
smiling?
people. I'm just smiling because I've realized over the years of doing so much business that a lot of people, a lot of the fraud stories that you see,
Yeah.
somehow the people who made the money, they pay some of it back and they run away. So, and to be honest, I can quote you laws in the country's systems. I can quote you a law from my country's system where we have National Accountability Bureau. It's called NAB. Nearly their work is to nab the criminals who did financial frauds
like
and
the
everything.
name.
Yeah, so it's National Accountability Bureau. They have a handshake thing where if you've embezzled like millions and billions of Pakistani rupees,
Yeah.
you can just pay some amount and be a witness and just be like, okay, thank you very much. I'm not going to see any jail time and anything. So
Wait,
it's,
what?
Yeah, it's
So
not.
you won't be held
I'm
responsible
just quoting
to it?
Pakistani because I know it to the word, but other countries also have these laws where when you embezzle money or you do something, there is a big amount that you can pay. And to be honest, that big amount is like 50-60% of what you've made. So you still get away with that 20-30%, which
And
you
the
put it on
government-
someone
and the
other's name.
government ends up getting like really good free funds.
Yeah, but again, the problem is that what about the people who got affected? And that is why you have class action lawsuits in the US. So it's a whole legal
Yeah.
paradigm that you'll have to explore. But the idea is that somehow whoever does this, I wouldn't say a percentage, but if I had to, like, really, 30 to 40% of these people, they somehow run away. They go to a country where there is no extradition treaty. We've seen so many dramas on Netflix and Amazon and wherever that these people usually run to countries which don't have an extradition treaty and then somehow survive there and live there. So
I
yeah,
wonder if he's going to be prosecuted
that
here
was
in
the reason
US.
there was a smile on my face that these fraud stories, when they're in millions and billions, usually these people somehow get away with it. It's not a lesson to do it. Someday they get caught, or somehow, what as word says, karma gets you. But someone has it. It always has consequences.
It
A
does.
hard-earned, good, hard-earned business, job, anything will always make you happy. And let's talk about a hard-earned business here also. So there's a Saudi-based career tech startup called Flawless. Very nice name. I loved the name. Has raised $1.5 million in a pre-seed funding round. The company announced this week. The funding was backed by a group of angel investors and will be used to develop the startup's AI-powered career guidance platform.
So Flawless uses generative AI and social psychology to deliver personalized, data-driven career advice, which I know many people would always like, helping users make informed decisions about education, jobs, and just their personal growth. So the platform is aimed primarily at Gen Z and young professionals navigating a fast-changing job market.
And the company was founded by Shaima Al-Ghamidi, who first launched Flawless as a blog in 2023, focused on internships, education, and work-life insights. Its early traction inspired her to build a full digital platform, which officially became a tech startup in 2024.
So with the new capital, Flawless plans to enhance its AI engine, expand its team, and improve user experience. The company is hiring across engineering, behavioral science, and product design to build a more holistic and scalable career advisory platform.
And by addressing a growing demand for personalized career support in emerging markets, Flawless hopes to reduce decision fatigue, very important, and empower users with clear pathways forward. The platform aims to become a trusted tool for career exploration across the region and beyond.
Imagine that term, decision fatigue. What does that particularly
It usually happens at high-level positions, C-level positions, where your job all day is to just take decisions. Now, decisions at the very core of it, it's a very risky 50-50 situation. We do this or that. And sometimes when you're at a higher position, you have like 5 options. We do this, 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 this. And there comes a point when your brain is like, sorry, I'm freezing up. I'm not helping you. So decision making needs a lot of your brain, a lot of your experience to come in. That is decision fatigue. Like you don't know what to choose, or either you don't have enough trusted advice from people who are in position who can give you like actual advice. So for example, one day you decide you have like 15 stories coming in. It's a very busy day. And you somehow end up making a preference list of this is the top, this is then, this is then. And after those 3, you're like, what do I choose? That's decision fatigue. Yeah.
That happened to me this morning. But
happens to a lot of people, yeah.
Honestly, you know what? This kind of what you basically brought up, decision making. It kind of segues into this conversation of when you're a founder, when you're a CEO. I think that this is why it is so important to have active stakeholders in your business. And I remember there was this reel that we even published, and it was I completely forgot their name, but it was this business person who basically said that the reason why they're able to build the successful business that they have built is because they have such active stakeholders who are constantly supporting them along the way.
A good co-founder helps. If you have a good co-founder, it's someday you're at 20% of energy, they make it up for the 80%, and someday you're at 80 and they're at 20. Also, decision fatigue is very common on students as well, because what field to choose, what to decide, what to study, what not to study, will I make a career
What a
in
crazy
it?
time.
Yeah.
And up next, stay with us. We're joined by Sahil Sajan, and we're going to dive into his journey and what's next for Milano by Danube. So Milano, part of Danube Group, is known for its wide range of sanitary ware, tiles, and electrical products, with a presence in over 47 countries. And today we have a really special guest, their director, Sahil Sajan, which is joining us today to talk about Milano's newest venture, their entry into the pet care market. Sahil, it's so nice to have you today. How are you feeling?
Very good. Thank you for having me here. It's a real honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sahil, for coming. And we've hosted your brother as we were talking outside. And the very first question, I think, would be about what you're trying to do with Milano now. Why did Milano decide to enter pet care? So give us your view of Milano first. What do you think Milano wants to achieve, and why pet care?
So, see, Milano is everything to me now. I've been working there since 5 years, got this opportunity. Now, why pet care? As simple as that. I love animals, and I'm a big dog lover. Cats, okay. But so for me, it was no-brainer. And why not start such a nice division?
Oh, nice.
And what we really want to know is, why does Milano believe in care beyond homes?
Because this is our job. We want to give the best to the customers. We don't want to ruin what they want to do there for their homes. This is where they live, right? They want the best. So it's as simple as that. There's no rocket science. You just want to give the best.
Yeah, and you said you're a pet person yourself, right? You
Yeah.
have dogs. You have dogs.
I don't have dogs, but I go to
Yeah.
I sometimes go to these centers to meet dogs just to
Nice.
play with them.
And
It's
your
fun.
favorite breed, or like, if you could own a dog, which one
Oh,
would it
definitely a golden retriever.
Oh.
It's a very common answer, I
Yeah.
know that, but surely a golden retriever would be the best for me. Like I love them.
be? Not the hunting kind, the German Shepherds and the
See,
Rottweilers.
I can easily say, yeah, that's also fine, but there is a little fear sometimes for
Yeah.
them, but they're also beautiful.
Yeah.
And what I'm really curious about is, I feel that there are many companies that are already in this industry. What I want to know is what is going to differentiate Milano in this specific case?
Well, I don't know about other people. I definitely want to give the best quality products. For example, if they're using related to their pet, we don't want to trouble them with the bad quality. The servicing has to be on point, the product has to work all the time, and give a good warranty, as simple as that.
Yeah.
And the customer should enjoy using the product with their pet. Like, even if they're away, they don't have a worry or a tension. As simple as that, yeah.
But there's a lot of trends. Let's go to Milano a little. Good that you're going to pet care, but overall Milano, what's the trend right now in home furnishing and bath solutions? Are people still going for those Italian finishes, or like Middle Eastern, or here we see something new?
It can differentiate. It depends on each person. Now, see, Milano, it's not exactly in the luxury sector.
Okay.
It's in the more affordable sector.
Oh,
So whenever people come inside the Danube home, or we're selling in the wholesale, we're normally in retail, wholesale, and export.
Yeah.
Now, we want to be as affordable as possible with the best quality. We don't want to disappoint our customer. And now, luckily, Milano has been a global brand since almost 17 to 18 years. So we don't want to disappoint them in any ways. And how does a customer get disappointed? If the quality is bad, the price is bad, what else? Nothing else they complain about. So it has to be on point, and we have to be focused on that.
And you mentioned like customers, and what I'm curious about is what do you do when you see that customers, the consumers, their preferences are changing? How is Milano going to adapt to that?
I say this statement a lot, that you have to be ahead of the game. Like, for example, if you want to procure products, you need to see what the trends are. Like you mentioned about trends, you need to see what the trends are. You cannot just sit in your seat, let it go how it's going. That's not going to get you anywhere. That's going to be like you're going to be back in the back foot, and your competitors are going to go way ahead. So you need to see what the market is wanting. You want to see what your customers want. It's not about what you want. You got to see what other people want, right? So that's why you have to be ahead of the game all the time.
And you said ahead of the game and constantly seeing what customers want. The question very much is like, how do you grow your business with this? And how has the business actually grown? Because we would love to know how it started and how it has reached this point.
Well, I joined five years ago, I just mentioned earlier. And how it's grown, like we have targeted a lot of export markets.
Nice.
And from one of my strengths is that I have a very good relationship with all my customers, basically in the UAE, Oman, Bahrain, Qatar. Be it in the wholesale sector or even the retail, I'd like to visit the showrooms on a regular basis, not just to say, what's going on. That's not my job. Like that can be a part of the job, but no, I have to go into depth of everything. I cannot leave it on my subordinates like, you guys do it, don't worry.
Yeah.
You
Just
got
give
this.
me a report at the end of the day, I'll read it.
That's like, sitting like in the back seat and doing nothing. That's not really my job. So I got to be on my point. I travel a lot for procuring products, so it's very segregated and good.
And how would you say that you maintain those good relationships that you prioritize?
So any customer will feel good when like a director is coming to meet, right? Now this term director is given to me. I don't really like it, but it is what it is. So whenever I go to meet a customer, be it in the wholesale market, it's like, how the trader market is in the UAE. You just go to areas like Sharjah, Al Quwain, or even Al Quoz. They're all small shops, but they give good chunk of business. Now when I go, a customer feels happy.
Yeah.
He feels happy, okay, the owner has come, and I don't even talk about business. Sometimes they will complain to me about something. I'll give it to them and like, all right, go for it. They feel happy like I've come. So it's a very good thing. It's a strength for me.
Yeah, so I think, showing your face specifically, as you're saying, you're always on ground. It gives a lot of faith to the customers and the clients that you have.
Yeah.
That it's not just someone coming, a salesperson coming, it's the director coming.
Yeah.
And in terms of expansion, we see you're going into pet care, very great. I think to be honest, feel it's a big market, especially in the
big
UAE.
Market, yes,
because I've seen this trend over the years that a lot of communities that they're now building, they're very pet friendly. So since they're pet friendly, people are happily keeping pets and they need pet care, right? But what are your other business plans in terms of where do you want to see? You want to go to more countries? You want to establish here, get a bigger chunk of the market?
Absolutely. I want to target the whole African market. Like right now, we're good in export. I want to make it even bigger because that is a market where Milano is famous. For example, a country like Rwanda or Kenya, there is Milano's name. But I want to target almost every part of Africa because Milano is in the affordable sector. And mostly in the African countries, they want affordable products with the best quality. And I'm sure I can capitalize on that. And we're on it. And we're doing so far decent. But I think we're still here. We can do much more.
So there's a lot of market to capture.
Huge market.
But much more than that, what would you say is like, Sahil's vision for Milano? What is your main vision for the company and where do you see it going further?
Definitely when you say vision, who doesn't want to be a global brand? Everybody likes to be recognized, right?
Yeah.
I like to be recognized. Milano likes to be recognized. Of course, I want to be with a recognized brand. I want people to talk about Milano. Like every bathroom should have Milano. Every house should have Milano. It's not only about sanitary ware. We are selling electrical hardware and pet care. I want everyone to know that Milano is there because I want to provide them with the best quality. And if there is something wrong with the product, we give good service because we have a warranty and we replace the product instantly.
Right. So after sales services is a big focus.
Big deal because customer wants service. Every customer likes to be pampered. I'm sure when you guys go to a restaurant, you want to be pampered, right? With good service.
Even if he says good morning with a smile, we're happy, right? And that means a lot. My last question would be, you said you want Milano to be in literally every house in some sort of way.
Yeah.
There are giants in the market already, right?
Yeah.
I think rack ceramics and all, those are the biggest ones. Do you have a USP, you have a plan in mind where you will beat those giants?
I can't say about that right now, but I can say one thing. I definitely look up to these brands, like you said, Rack Ceramics or Grohe. Or, these are competitors, but also brands which I can learn from. I look up to them very well. So I can't say about the first point, but I can definitely say I look up to them a lot, and they're great brands.
And I think it's so interesting how you mentioned how you look up to them, and I'm so curious about what was like a turning point in your personal life, your business life, that made you become the director of Milano.
Well, a lot of changes, my life. I'm blessed, by the grace of God. I'm blessed with a lot of stuff, and I got this opportunity. I wanted to take it, and I should not be a laid-back person. That's what, if you're asking me like that, if you're laid back, you're not going to get anywhere. So, got to take full advantage of it and then fight it out. You can't just let the world rule you. You got to find your own way also at times.
But how would you say you stay very grounded and balanced?
It's about your own personality. Parents have raised in a proper way too. I have an elder brother who I look up to, like you had interviewed him earlier. So, it's all about my parents, they've raised me like this, and I just want to be grounded all the time. Like they say, more than business, I want people to remember, okay, Sahil Sajan's a pretty cool guy, chill guy. He's not a rude guy or a mean guy. He's a very chill guy.
Okay. I think let's do some quick fire questions.
Sure.
What are the top 5 mistakes brands make? Since you've been with the brand for 5 years.
5, don't just sit back and see what's got to go be ahead of the game. Second is that you got to monitor what your people are doing. Just don't do what you want. No, that doesn't work like that. Don't hire lazy people, useless people.
Hiring is a very important
I've done some mistakes. I'm young, so everybody makes mistakes. But don't hire useless people, and I guess these are the 3 right now when you ask. 5 is a bit too much, but for me also a mistake is don't be stubborn. Sometimes listen to other people also, and I like to do that. Sit and don't do long meetings. I don't believe in long meetings at all.
I totally
10
agree
minutes
with you.
and then let's just wrap it up fast. I can't do long meetings. So that's a mistake for me if you do long meetings. It's my opinion.
And we want to know, what are the top 5 most beautiful spaces you've seen?
Spaces, can you explain,
I mean it in the sense, locations, what are the top 5, especially for Milano, for Danube?
In terms of brand, houses, maybe, the categories that you deal in. Is there any building you went to and you're like, this is crazy?
So many. Many buildings in Sharjah. Sharjah is not a small community. Clearly, when you go back home, there's a lot of traffic. Sharjah, I've seen, and gracefully, a lot of buildings have Milano, which is great. Al Quoz. Many commercial buildings. Like I said, we're not in that luxurious sector.
Yeah.
If a customer wants Milano in the luxury sector, why not? Please, by all means, we will cater with the best of best qualities. But if you're asking like that, Sharjah, where there are a lot of places, you know, whenever I go, so I'll just give you an example. Like a few days ago, I was just coming out from a haircut, and there was a sanitary shop. I see a Milano water heater, some guy is carrying a water heater, and I felt good. And the guy recognized me. So it was a moment for 10 seconds, but it felt good, like, okay, you know, people recognize me and the brand. So if you see like that, it's a great feeling, a wonderful feeling.
And any 5 top brands, any industry that you must have followed on social media. You're young. You're a social media person. You should be and maybe are. Any new branding techniques, anything that you saw online that you were like, this is what I see. This is how brands should be, or any marketing, any ad, any video.
So in the sanitary sector, I like Grow Hair a lot.
Oh, nice.
Grow Hair's Instagram page is good. I've taken inspiration from them.
Yeah.
Then in restaurants wise, there are many. Like I follow a lot of restaurants because, like, you know, we're spoiled for choices in the UAE. Names, I can't really remember. There's a brand name, SMK Burger.
Oh, nice.
Like you won't get space to enter that restaurant. And then maybe Denny Properties.
That has to be at the top of the list.
That has to be number one. Rizwan Sajan.
Yeah, he's a brand himself.
And then my dad, Anis Sajan. He's a very underrated content creator.
Yeah. We've seen him. For Love in Dubai, I think recently there was this IPL final.
IPL final. So he's very underrated. And you know, people have come to me, like, we watch Anis Sajan's account, like we stalk him like a guilty pleasure because it's such a chill account to stalk, because it's not about business, but, you know, reality, life, funny. So I think my dad is one of the funniest content creators.
And I think personally, whenever I follow that account, I see a lot of family also. You guys travel together. You recently went somewhere. I saw pictures of you, your brother. See, so it's a very nice, cute account where you get a lot of business aspects. He loves cricket, I think.
Too much.
Yeah, and then the family dynamic is so nice that you're always together.
But I'm just so curious, do you guys think that having a social media presence nowadays is an important part of having your business?
You know, there is one guy named Raj Shamani, the podcast guy. He's famous. You know, he posted a thing like 5 years from now, everyone will be a content creator, even if they don't want to be.
Yeah.
It's reality. Yes, it's very important. That's the answer to your question. Very important. Like, even if you don't want to be, you're going to be forced to be.
Was there a specific experience that like made you realize this?
Yes, because like you see now in this country, now we're living in a country, a beautiful country like UAE. Now after the COVID era, you see influencer everywhere. Every person is an influencer now. Every person is a real estate agent. So now you cannot just depend on influencers. Yes, you should work with them. They are also they're a reason why they have wonderful accounts. But you gotta have your own identity. And I believe, like, I don't want to be recognized through others. Like, one thing is recognized by family, okay, it's good. But I want my own identity too.
Yeah.
And I think I've been trying to do that. And by the grace of God, nowadays people recognize also. Like randomly, I went to a wedding. Are you Sahil Sajan? They see my account, so it feels good. You know, you can easily say, yeah, whatever, these people came. But the reality, it's a very good feeling.
Yeah. So it's always, sorry.
No,
so there's always an umbrella brand. Like you go to any big brands in the world, Unilever, P&G, you would recognize their names, but they have sub-brands that have their own identities, right? Likewise, I think Danube and then Casa Milano and Milano, your brand, they all come under the same group, but everyone recognizes, now has started recognizing Milano, Casa Milano and all these things. And it's really good that you should have a group identity and an individual identity.
Absolutely. You cannot just depend on your family, like, oh, they will know you through your family. Great, it's great, but you got to have your own identity. Now, that's how you go ahead. Otherwise, you will always be behind. You don't want to be behind in life,
That's so true. And, you know, just to wrap it up, what is a message that you have for the audience? What is something that you really want to put out there?
Don't take anything for granted, be it in a personal life or professional life. That's all. That's my, you know, that word mantra. Like, don't take anything for granted in life. Appreciate what you have.
Last question I would say is, you get a letter from your past self. What would you want, or you can send a letter to your past self, sorry. What would you tell the young Sahil? Don't do this or do this.
Watch your health, watch your body. Because if your body is good, you feel good.
That
a
is
good, healthy
completely
brain
true.
in a
Yeah.
good, healthy body.
I
is
was a very
perfect.
obese guy, and I
Oh.
wish I was fit from the start of a young age. But after COVID, I changed myself clearly.
Yeah.
So yeah, watch yourself, watch your body. If your body is good, you feel good. Simple. That's what I always believe in.
Perfect.
And that is completely true. And that's a wrap for today, everyone. This is Sahil, Sajan for you, Abdul Majid, and Wert Ahmed from the Smashi Business Show, a part of the Smashi Business production under the Augustus Media Podcast Network. See you tomorrow.